guys, look at this. Look at this
What
place.
a pretty
It's gorgeous.
place.
It's nice here, right?
I mean, it's seriously nice here.
It's a seriously
serious.
great
Oh.
spot.
I mean, like, are you guys serious?
Dude, I want you to
Places
be serious
freaking-
with me right now. Be serious
Okay.
right now.
Guess what? We are serious.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, I hear what you're saying.
We are SiriusXM.
Welcome, listener, to SmartLess.
SmartLess.
JB, are you sorry? I know you're but are you having like issues, like connection issues or something?
Yeah, like
What's
glitchy.
going
Oh,
on?
I could be.
You're a little
very well
glitch-
could. Yeah, I might
Yeah.
need a new computer. Yeah, my all my ports and holes are rusty and,
Yeah.
You might want to
know.
get another take on that if you because you know what I mean.
might
Let's
need to-
put it a
after I
different way.
finish at the computer store, go to the doctor.
Well, let's just
Or bring your computer to the doctor.
Yeah. So I apologize if I sound like a broken computer today, America.
That's okay.
You don't need to apologize ever for anything. We love you
Yes,
Well,
love.
a lot. You're
Thanks.
very loved.
Thanks, but I'm glitched out today.
Okay, so and don't worry about it. So anyway, I just woke up a little bit ago. I had the craziest dream. I'm not making this up. I had a dream that I was on.
Was I in it?
No.
I don't want to hear it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I was
Hey,
on the
you know, I
operating-
actually, don't you love it? Isn't the narcissism in you just flare up when someone says, "Hey, I had a dream about you last night"? I stop everything. I go, "Oh yeah."
No,
Sean, was
none of
I
you
in
were
it?
No, neither of you were in it. I was on the operating table, and they took my heart out, and it was just, and I saw them taking all of it out, and the guy's
Was
like,
it filled with jujubes?
no, and the guy said, I said, okay, so some procedures, and I'm like, don't I need my heart to like live, like all the blood? Like I can't live too long with it outside of my body, right? He's like, no, you'll be fine. And then he started giving me fried chicken. Swear to God.
You started
And then,
putting a breast of fried chicken in your chest?
no, but like making me eat it with. He's like, you want some of my lunch? I was like, okay, it was fried chicken. Isn't that weird?
What'd you have for dinner?
I don't remember. What did I have
Really?
for dinner? Oh, I had pita bread with chicken and hummus.
It's called a falafel.
Yeah, that's it. Boy, this is bad today.
Yeah, it
Should we
is.
just get to our guest?
Let's start over. Let's start over. Everyone back to one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will, you forgot a couple of buttons at the top of your shirt real quick before we continue.
It's real steamy out here right now.
Is
Yeah, it
it?
is.
You look like
Yeah.
George Hamilton.
It's
Period.
Period.
like a period George Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like from what era?
All right,
yeah.
great. Ready? Here we go. Everybody's
shit.
real tired
That's it.
today.
I know.
Well,
wait, Sean. Wait, JB. Wait.
I just woke up.
Did you?
I really did. Just like
Did you have a dream?
Did you, Shani? Did you wake up? Usual, like wake up at 4, awake till
I
7?
woke
then
up. Yeah,
sleep?
I woke up at 4. Started playing games and reading stuff, and then I went back to bed pretty
What
quickly.
was the game? Don't say games with an S on it. It's Candy Crush, period, isn't it?
No. I usually play like Hearts, or I'll play Solitaire, or I'll play something mindless, so it kind of gets me sleepy again.
Oh, because Candy Crush is the real brain teaser. Yeah. You don't want to start the critical functioning at 4:30.
A real brain teaser. Well, I got to get the yellows to match the brain reds.
This is going to keep me up.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
All right, here we go. Nobody.
Okay.
You guys, nobody's in the mood for us today. But we're in the mood for our guests. We're so excited. Let's talk. He's too cool for school, guys. These are all your hints. I'd give anything for just a fraction of this man's brilliant acting and
So this is
improv
this is a
skills.
mathematician.
No, his first and last name start with the same letter. He's tall AF. That's-
Soupy Sales.
That's what the kids say. No. He played Daddy Warbucks in Annie when he was 12. Like myself, a born and raised Midwestern boy, and also like myself, afraid of the ocean. He may or may not have juicy dirt on Jon Favreau. It's my new best friend, the always hilarious
Vince Vaughn?
Vaughn.
Cut the
Vince!
shit. Cut the shit.
What's happening? How are you guys?
Cut
Very
the
early
shit.
for
Good to see you
Cut-
guys.
Cut the motherfucking shit.
Great to see
Now
you.
I'm up. Now I'm up.
Now I'm up too.
Vince.
Good morning. I like the steamy. The steamy's excellent. It's confident in the morning, Will, and I like that. And a necklace that draws my eyes as well. Dreams are important. I don't know what fried chicken in a dream means, but I think it's something that you might want to look under the hood. And Bateman, I love that you are still figuring out how to record because I'm the same way. I can't turn on a streamer without my 13-year-old daughter helping.
Yeah. Guys, well, hold on. I feel this is like
know.
I love
an
this.
old
I can't believe
family
it's taken
member
us
that I
this-
haven't seen for how many years, Vince?
It's been a
Feels
while.
like 10 years.
It's great to see you.
You too, pal. How's Kyla?
Kyla's doing great. Yeah, she's doing
Kyla's
great.
your wife for my sister Tracy, who doesn't know that, who is a real
Yes,
estate
Tracy.
broker.
Kyla's a woman that I've asked to. I took her hand.
Canadian gal.
Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
I went north of the border, Arnett. You know what it's about.
Fucking A, bud.
Hey,
Would,
Fucking A rights.
Vince.
Fucking beauty. Grab your beauty.
I was singing your praises the other day. Again, it's usually once a week when I talk about there is no one better at what you do than
yeah,
you, my
Vince,
friend.
I don't know if you listen, but we always talk about you on this.
No, I listen a lot, and that's nice coming from all three of you. All three of you are funny and joke around, and I've had fun with all of you.
You have such a facility. You're so funny in such an easy way. From the first moment I ever saw you perform, which was Swingers, you were just fucking. From that moment on, I was like, this guy he's a fucking grand slam. Every day's the home run derby.
I didn't
for
think
Vince
so.
Vaughn.
Here's why. I was thought.
notes,
By the
go
way, is
ahead.
the picture locked?
The picture is locked, but
is,
let's have
okay.
your notes.
Well, I thought maybe you could try a little harder. Maybe.
But Vince, what
A little on the field, to be honest. In that
what
one.
was before? What was before Swingers? How did you come loaded for bear in that?
I have all of those questions.
Was it? I know a little of this, but my brain is not working as well as it used to. So remind me of what I used to know. I know there's Chicago in there.
Well, like you, I started acting very young, but just in community stuff. So like both my parents worked, so I was always performing. I just gravitated to it, probably lack of success in other areas. And for some reason, I felt like good attention there. And I have to say, like, as a kid, this is something I talked to Phillips about. That show that you did that was on, where you were such a smart ass on that show. What was that one called with the checkerboard?
It's Your Move.
Was fucking you were so fucking funny in that. Me and Todd, when we were working with you on Starsky and Hutch, I brought up, he's like, I loved him on that fucking show. You were such a fucking confident kid who didn't care what people thought about you. But I just kind of liked stuff always as a kid. That stuff made me laugh, like Sanford and Son. He made me laugh.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like Red Fox, he just didn't care, and it wasn't like he had a lot of skills, but he wasn't going to have his day bothered. I don't know. I just kind of found that stuff funny. So I was always performing, started doing improv in high school with Improv Olympic, and got an agent in high school and started working, and then came out. But where Swingers we got benefited from, I think, is John and I were hanging out. He came out to Los Angeles, and then he sort of took stuff that was going on in our lives and jokes and things that we said and formed this screenplay. And because we were raising money for it, it's almost like Nichols used to do what he would perform on Broadway before they would shoot something. We were trying to raise money, so we must have had 5, 6 table readings of that thing.
Wow.
And so we had time to investigate it and think about it and tweak it slightly. And so when we went to go film it and the bars were open and they weren't closed, we weren't bothered because we were so well versed with the material.
Oh, that's amazing. But speaking about, though, you grew up in Chicago, so did I.
Not far from you, in the suburbs, the great suburbs.
Yeah, you grew up in Buffalo Grove. I grew up in Glen Ellen.
Yeah, Buffalo Grove and then Lake Forest, and then I went to Lake Forest afterwards.
Yeah, that Lake Forest is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, isn't that weird? We're the same age.
Same year.
So
Same
weird.
year,
Wait, both in Chicago.
Holy
In the
shit,
suburbs.
Sean, you're right. Like you
Christ.
and 25 million other people. That's fucking crazy. What are the fucking odds? Hang on. They're pretty good.
What are the odds that 2 Americans were born in the 3rd largest city in the country and now live in the 2nd largest city in the country?
But wait, it gets better.
Sean's got a follow-up. Everybody hold
It
on.
gets better. It gets better.
Yeah, ready.
So wait, I read that you did children's theater there? Did you do children's theater?
Yeah, as a kid, I was in community theater where we would play the adult roles as young.
Where was that? Do you remember?
That was
what
at the
theaters?
Gorton Community Center, which is a place. Which Robin Williams went to high school when it used to be a high school. It was in Lake
This
Forest.
is like Bugsy Malone, right? You guys are playing.
Yes, without
all
the
right?
pies, but exactly. Remember that one with Bayo? They dazzled with the pies? It was all okay because they threw pies. Remember that one? Arnett, you had to see that one.
Yeah, they had a Tommy gun that shot cream puffs, right?
Was that McNichol?
I think it was Kristen McNichol.
Was McNichol charming in front of the camera with
crazy
Bayo?
for her. God, I remember.
They were throwing whipped cream at each other and dressed as gangsters.
I was so in love with Kristen McNichol when I was a kid. I remember specifically jogging with my dad one morning in the quiet streets of Woodland Hills, and I started crying. I trailed behind him, and I just started crying because I had a dream about her, and I couldn't believe that it wasn't real. And I just started weeping. I must have been 10 or 11 or 12. So in love with her. And now I'm growing my hair out like her. No, never met her.
Not
once. I think I met her brother.
There's so much about that story is psychotic.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so much about that.
Red flag alert.
I mean, fuck.
Wait, but then you moved out. You moved out in '88. Is that right? You moved out.
Yes, right after high school. I gave up on my academic career.
No college.
So no college.
Good for you. Me too.
I was
Good
the
for
same
you.
way.
Takes
I
a lot
didn't
of guts.
understand-
It's easy to go to college. It takes a lot of guts.
Yeah.
To fucking pass
And
it up.
even more bold is not even graduating high school. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I only graduated because it was important to my parents, but I was done. I was ready to move on.
Yeah, I get that. Wait, what was
Hayes,
going
did you
on?
go to school for 4 years? Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Illinois State University.
Okay.
And I have a scholarship fund set up there.
Was that still Salukis? Is that Carbondale?
That's Normal, Illinois.
That's Normal, Illinois. That's right.
Yeah. Isn't that a funny name?
That's the name of the town.
I have to say this, though. I want to just say this because one of the best performances I've ever seen in my life was you and Goodnight Oscar.
That's
I couldn't
very
believe
nice.
saw
what I
that?
saw.
How great
I
was that?
cannot tell you how fucking blown away I was.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
And this
coming
is
from
just
you.
me being a kid of the age I am. The fact that that's not on film makes me want to murder somebody. That was such an incredible performance.
That's very sweet, Vince. Coming from
And he
you,
won the
that means a
Tony
lot.
deservedly.
And he won the fucking.
I think he should have gotten. If they could have given out 2 Tonys, I couldn't
Tonys.
believe it. If you did any one of those things, I was like, oh, he's older. He's got the fucking addictions.
And then the piano
it was
playing.
it was flawless.
At one
it was
point,
incredible.
It's very sweet. At one point in my life, I did have 2 Tonys. But listen, I
Did they take a Tony away? Did you get Reggie Bush? Did someone take a Tony away? Were you taking money on the side?
No, one of the
two
Tonys had to
Tonys.
go home because his wife called. So, is that what it is?
wait, but Vince, that's very sweet of you to say, and it means a lot coming from you.
No, it's true. Did you guys both see that play?
Oh, it was. Are you kidding? We wept. We fucking wept. We
Yeah, it
literally.
was
He
great.
said. Jason sat in front. We wept. We turned and we were like, "This is unbelievable."
And I turned to
nice.
Will and I said, I think Sean's ruined the podcast now
Yeah.
because now we can't disrespect him.
Yeah.
I want
And
to
I said
know
I kept saying I had no idea he had this in him. I had no idea. You could
No
never
idea.
tell from any of his past work. You had no idea. It was so out of left field.
Very sweet. So, we were just on a previous episode talking about audition stories. And one of the funniest things, who was it that was like, was it Jason? It was you that would, no, was it
Oh
you?
no!
that
Jason
walk
would say
through?
that when he leave
yeah.
auditions.
When
Jason,
he'd
what would
leave
you say to them?
Oh, but it's probably
It's
came
the
across
greatest.
as an asshole, but I was trying to be sort of humble and not be as presumptuous that they would ever hire me. And I would just, I would say, hey, good luck with this as I left. Which it was just such a wrong thing to say, but I
You
was
could
trying.
take it the other way, where it's like this is a fucking nightmare. No one's solving this problem.
You know what I think they took issue with was the wink that you gave them with that. Yeah. Was when you gave them a full
double
good
wink.
luck with this and then a wink.
Like a babysitter leaving a house, leaving them with the kid.
Good luck with that one.
But I read you did something really, wouldn't you go out and shake everybody's hand afterwards or something?
Oh, I was fucking Well, I didn't know, so I thought like it was like a job interview in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So I would be overly like kind of nice, and I think it was draining for the people. Like they just wanted to see you read and could you do the part. But I would like go out of my way to be like, well, it was a pleasure to meet you. They'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? And
Well, that's a
then
nice thing
I
to
would
do.
always say, like, I was kind of coming from an insecure place, not humble, but I would always, for some reason, compliment the screenplay or the script. I say, this is really great. I mean, even if it was fucking terrible, I just say, wow, this is great stuff.
After you had just finished improvising, probably, right?
I don't even know, but I didn't really improvise on those. I was more kind of stuck to the page, and yeah, it's a weird process. The audition process is weird.
Do you remember your last one?
Well, the one thing in Swingers is because Favreau made fun of me. I had done a couple after-school specials.
I saw. By the way, I was going to ask you about that. I saw you in one.
Yeah, I did a couple of those. That was my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Wow.
I made my bones. I cut my teeth after school.
No way. No
Yeah,
way.
we were tackling shit like sex and steroids, and
Yes, I saw that. That's
we
so
were bringing
crazy.
some sunshine to these houses that were filled in darkness.
do you remember any of the dialogue from any of those that you've never been able to show, or any scene that you've been like, fuck?
Yeah, one of them was a scene with Billingsley where I discover he's on steroids, and I say, "You're wired all the time. You're like some doper." He wanted Nicole Eggert, I believe, to like him,
Sure.
and so he was pumping up some steroids to do some long distance running. And you know how they proved he was on steroids was because he wasn't necessarily buff at the time, although in excellent shape. But he would just roll up the sleeves on his shirt one time. Once that was the transformation to say the steroids have happened.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
But I went in for an audition and I started, and I didn't get, and I was like emotional. It was a real story. I came back and Favreau asked me about it. And I said, God, I really had a great audition. These people were moved. I really got to the moment. And I was like, but I didn't get it because I'm like tall and I'm like 3 years older than they wanted for the part. He's like, well, why are you even going in for it? I said, I don't know. They just put me in. So that's why he kind of was making fun of me with that story where I make it like I was phenomenal and really a great performance, but I was just too old to get the part in the trailer.
You know, I worked with Peter once when I was a kid. He was on Little House on the Prairie. He played a little kid who stuttered named Gideon that I befriended. I think we were both like 11 or 12.
For Tracy, Peter is the star of A Christmas Story.
Yeah. And the director of Couples Retreat.
Yep.
Yes. And he just did a sequel that he produced and wrote for Christmas Story last year that turned out really well. That was on HBO.
Oh, yes. That was great.
Vince, when are we going to go back to Bora Bora and do Couples Retreat too?
God, was that a fun location?
Oh, God. Well, that was the greatest call I ever got. I think you and Stuber called me and said, hey, we got a part for you in this film. We've named the character Jason.
We wrote it for you.
Right. We're going to shoot on Bora Bora for a month and a half. I mean, it was the biggest payday I've ever had. I mean, it was like the greatest job ever.
You were great. You were great. Always so funny. And it was like our Burt Reynolds phase.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, we just go to a location that's great and set a story, right?
Just a bunch of friends.
Cannonball Run. It's like, I don't know. It looks like those guys were like, let's go. But we just were looking for a place that would be, amazing that no one had heard of, and that's what they found.
Well, it's the best. We should do the sequel on a ski mountain.
You guys did a couple movies together, right? You did that.
Yeah,
You
we
mentioned Starsky.
Yep.
What else? Break Up. I feel like there's another one. I'll think of it.
Funny, makes me laugh so
You
hard.
fucking kill
Some of the
me.
stuff you added just in that scene with Jen and I on the couch when you're like the counselor and the realtor was so funny.
You guys, I would work so hard because you just go through a rehearsal with Vince and you just see how facile he is. And then when they bring in second team to write it, I would run to my trailer and I'd break out a little piece of paper and a pencil and I'd come up with all my alts, all my little things that I'm going to add and sort of, which is like the biggest mistake, like you get it all prepared and all loaded and then you go on to set. And so now you're trying to shoehorn in some stuff that while I'm practicing my faces in my trailer, it all works great. But then, of course, Vince is just like in the moment, like you should be, and adding great shit. And then I'm putting in these lines that have nothing to do with
Hey, fellas, what about
he
this?
Yeah. And so many times I'd get these looks from Vince like, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing? Like, you're wrecking it. Just shut up and set me up and move on.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that was a great
I don't remember.
lesson.
I remember you always coming up with fun stuff and
Not nearly enough.
and adding stuff. I don't recall it that way.
I don't know
That's
how
funny.
you do. We wouldn't be able to do it with a straight face. I mean, it must be impossible. Vince, do you remember one time we went to some charity thing? We sat next to, and the whole time Vince was in my ear commenting on everything that was happening. And I was like, I'm going to have to leave this fucking place because they think I'm laughing at everybody.
Oh, yeah. That's
and then
your
the guy
face,
gets
man?
up who's hosting and he goes, this is your face, man? This is the guy you guys decide? And I start fucking crying. Ted Sarando says, he's the guy of honor. He's looking at me from across the table like, why are you ruining my moment? I'm like, this
Maybe
guy's
that's
fucking,
why I was invited back.
fucking killing me.
We'll be right back. And now back to the show.
I think weren't we just talking to Kimmel or somebody about, or was it Fallon when you guest hosted? Was either Kimmel or Fallon and
Letterman.
Was it Letterman?
Oh,
We were
dude.
talking to one, and it was without a doubt, like the best week of hosting of any talk show
all time.
of any year
Of all time.
I remember
Vince, would
seeing
you ever consider that? But I would just like to see you on a nightly basis freestyling.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's enough already with the acting and going on location. You got a family, Vince. Let's get you a nice studio job where we can enjoy you on a nightly basis.
Yeah, we only get to see you cracking jokes a couple times a year. Like, it'd be like fucking nightly out there just
Come on,
fucking roasting
Vince.
people. Come on, man.
You know, it was fun to do the one time, but I think I'd get bored night after
wouldn't.
night. Wouldn't you guys?
No,
Like, this is fun. You guys, this is a super fun show. And you guys have fun. You have each other to joke with.
You get fresh meat every night, Vince, and you can just sit there and just cherry pick and throw bombs.
It was Letterman, right, Vince? It was Letterman.
Yeah, it was Letterman. I had fun doing it. It was fun. But I don't think I would. I think I would just get bored. Don't you like going on to a new project?
Yeah, but you take a bunch of months off and you can go do your thing,
Yeah.
Do you, Vince? Do you find people?
Jesus Christ, man, are you
I just
dying?
miss him, Will.
Do you find people, Vince, like with quote funny people? Do you expect people? Do you find that people expect it from you right off the bat? Is it something you have to turn on and it's exhausting? But once you turn it on, you're good to go. But you like to turn it off and just chill out and stay silent. Like, what do you like at home? Do you like to spar with your wife?
I think the three of us might be similar. Where I don't like to be on all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. I like to joke around and I appreciate a sense of humor, but I'm not out there swinging all day. I like to kind of slow it down. Like, I like to joke, but I don't like that.
But
when I
but
first
Vince, I was
moved
going to
here.
say, sorry, go ahead, Sean. When you first
I was going to say, when I first moved
is this
here,
close to your dream?
So you're driving out from normal.
No, when I first moved here, I was really, really young, and I think I was just always on because I thought I had to be.
Right.
And now that I'm older, I'm like, boy, God, did I exhaust a lot of people, I'm sure.
When are you going to come on? When are you going to turn on, do you think? When will be the moment?
Wow.
We're rolling,
Hey,
Sean.
you know what, Vince, I bet you get the same thing. I was thinking like Farrell kind of gets it too, which is when people see him, they're like, oh, this is the funny guy. You know, for Farrell, it's like, oh, you're Hank the Tank. You're the party guy who's crazy. So I'm going to come at you because you're crazy. And I wonder if you get that, A, and B, people feel, sometimes you meet people and they decide they're going to play with you, but they kind of play too hard. They get weird and they say something kind of critical or shitty, and you're like, that's not the game, man.
Yeah.
But they try to come at you, so they come at you hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think younger more so. Once in a while, someone thought they were funny for their group. Yeah. And so they would try to do something, and I would really eviscerate them. I would get their friends to fucking turn on them. And I would have a private moment, like their friends would be laughing at them, and I would have a private moment, like looking at them like, you thought this was going to go good. Like, this is your story. You wanted it. You wanted this. Here we are. But then I kind of figured it was better. I think as I got older, you just kind of, try to kill them with kindness, right? And you learn that minimal is better. But as I get older, I still get a lot of quotes, and yes, people will come up. But now that the comedy's played, and you guys tell me, because isn't it funny as you get older, people will share with you how they were hurting or a family member was sick. Mm-hmm. And how the comedies was really something they would watch multiple times. Right. So now it's more of an emotional connection.
Yeah.
Than it was when it first hit younger, when it was just kind of a funny connection.
All the time. We get this, especially this, because it's such a weird format because people hear us and so they can do shit and whatever. And we started our thing in 2020, and these guys will attest to it. You get a lot of people come up and go, I had a really tough year. I lost my dad and I was at home alone and I couldn't talk to anybody. And you guys, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of meaningful too. Like, it feels, you're like, oh, great. Like,
that was
I'm
me.
happy
I
about
told you
it.
I lost my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you didn't lose him.
We found him. He's just one town over.
Yeah. He's at a motel.
Bender. Big Bender.
30-year bender.
30-year Bender.
Vince, your dramatic work lately is like stunning. My dad just sent me an email the other day saying just how knocked out he was on something he just saw with you doing that you did. Are you loving doing more of that as you get as you get older and you're thinking about more mature things or whatever? I don't know. I certainly am, but I do miss doing comedies. I miss the studio comedy. You know that you've done a ton of. I've done a few of. I'd love to do more. Do you miss that a bit? Do you have any knowledge or forecast as to any of that stuff coming back? Do you have any idea why there's so few of them being made nowadays?
Yeah, first off, I think the same as you. My journey's been the same as you. I was fortunate to do like Hacksaw Ridge and then this stuff with Zoller, Brawl and Drag. But now I'm dying to do a comedy again.
Yeah,
like
me too.
it's like Sullivan's Travels, right? Like, and like Ozarks, I thought, and it was incredible. And the fact that you were, directing those and running those on top of it, and you get your plate full, I'm sure it's great. And it's fun, but it does make you miss, in agreement with you, that kind of
nice studio ensemble comedy where you're working every other day, maybe.
Yeah, just showing up every time.
Yeah, it's true. And then I think as far as it going away, here's what I'll say to you. I just was saying this. I think what happened is we went through a terrible time. Like, if you remember the 80s, they tried it with the lyric censorship of those albums. Like when NWA, I thought, was such a great album. And then they started putting these warning labels on albums, like Parents. And it kind of made the albums blow up. Like, the albums still came out. And it made everyone buy them more.
Right.
But I think they succeeded a little bit with the studio system to say there's, now we're going to decide what's funny, what's not, or what's joking, which is crazy because it's, of my opinion, like if you go back to Greek mythology, human nature has always been the same. And, clearly with entertainment, it's a place to explore. A song, a story is a place to explore rage or lust or selfishness or anything. It's the outlet. It's like MMA is the place to explore, or football, conflict, not out on the streets, but most people, watching a football game don't take that as a sign that they will get rewarded for tackling someone. So I think there's just a lostness of like how dumb people must be to think like this is a how-to video. It was insane to me. And so I think we went through this reign of terror of being policed, of like, what is and what isn't versus leaving people their tone. But it never went away. And I mean that, Jason, from this. I think you guys can appreciate this. The stand-up comics, when we were doing the Big R comics, were not that huge, meaning there was a real run in the 80s. They all got their own TV shows. And, people, you'd go on Carson and that was it. You were off to the races.
That was the path,
That was the path. But then, like in the 90s, I did this documentary for some guys that I liked that were comics because there just wasn't opportunities. Well, then what happened was the appetite from the audience for funny art, adult, dangerous, shocking comedy never went away. But because the studios weren't making them, Bill Burr, who's great, and other comics like him started selling out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that's a
they
good
started
point.
selling out the Forum, and Netflix started paying $20 million for those specials. Instead of putting that money behind a story and a movie.
Yeah, good point.
So they never really went away. Those guys were always, making jokes in areas like Bill will make fun of, having to stand up for veterans, which isn't an obvious path to the waterfall, or men and women relationships. But people laugh, and he gets to do it in a way where society appreciates it, and no one takes it as a literal thing. So I think like it never went away. It really helped the stand-ups. But my sense is that it's going to come back roaring.
I think so
in a big way.
Yeah, me too.
Because then I think anything other than that, of any kind of questioning of it, is just an illustration of like how arrogant someone might be to think like they're in charge of like who the fuck is worthwhile.
But what's interesting about that is that all these, it used to be such a great point, Vince, and that the stand-ups, you'd make it to a certain level, you do whatever. You do Carson, you get a huge deal, blah, blah, and not all of them were great actors or could act in film. Now they don't have to, because they can just do a special a year for $20 million, and getting a movie or a show is not the ultimate objective for them anymore. They don't need it.
Although, if we look back at the great comics, a movie, when it's done well, is always more memorable than the greatest stand-up special. As good as Delirious is.
100%.
Right? We all go to 48 Hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's a story that when it works, it's such a powerful thing. So yeah, I think it's, and now some of them are going, like if you look at even what happened with Shane, with Gillis, You know,
Yeah.
there was like, he can't, now they're all clamoring for Shane because he
dude.
built an audience, was able to reach people directly, and people realize this guy's funny and coming with a point of view, and he's trying to make people laugh, right? So he's really had a huge opportunity because he was able to go directly to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's a model that's, I think.
Was this that model in some ways, do you think, this podcast?
Nah, this
Well,
No, this is an accident.
It was, sorry, JB, not to, I think it was,
Still
bear
is.
with me, in the idea, with the idea that we started it with nobody. We paid for it for the first year. I mean, we had advertisers, but it took us a little while just because producing the episodes and the equipment and all that kind of shit. So it was just us, right? I mean, that's in that way it was.
Right. But we never assumed anyone was going to listen to it and that it wouldn't
No.
be around after COVID. We thought it was going to be 3-4 months, something like that.
Yeah, we
And
really.
here we are, and we get to talk to our favorite people, and it takes an hour a week, and we just could not feel.
I
more
can't believe it's
fortunate.
taken us this long to have Vince on. Can you? I'm
Yeah,
thinking
no,
this
not at
as
all.
he's
I know.
talking.
It's
I'm
like
how
unbelievable.
the fuck was he not our first guest? This is
By the way,
unbelievable.
he is our first guest on our new deal on SiriusXM.
Are you
No
serious?
shit.
Yes.
Let's cut the ribbon.
This
Vince?
makes sense that we have
Yes.
Vince as our first guest on fucking Sirius XM.
Yes, this is. I was gonna say we were gonna add it later, but I think that's safe to say. And thank you, Vince, by the way, for wanting and willing to be our
it's
first guest. It's a
Oh,
big
what
honor.
a great start.
We
And
just
so-
need you to wear a ball cap for 6 weeks if you don't mind. It's just as serious. It's just when you're going to the market, whatever, you're picking up the kids. Don't fucking sweat it. Well, you can leave it in the car.
No, I'll have it as an option. Some days on, some days off, but we'll be there with it.
All right, listen. Wait, speaking of all, I love that philosophy. You were talking about all the comedy stuff, and I
know.
totally agree.
It's interesting.
Do you like who was it for you growing up? Who were you like? Gosh, if I could do that, or I could be like that, or I could have that career, or I could follow his kind of trajectory.
Red Fox.
Yeah, I loved Red Fox. It was all of those guys. There was stuff I used to just watch like endlessly. And I always kind of gravitated to I think it's a little bit like, isn't it like with kids, you hide your eyes and then they laugh because you're getting ahead of them. It's like horror. The jump scare and the joke, there's something in going where you don't expect it.
Yeah, it's all surprise, yeah.
Surprise, right? So the stuff that was more, kind of like points of view that was not norm was such a fun place in a show or a movie to see someone with that attitude was fun. That's why that's why Bateman and It's Your Move made me laugh. 'Cause it kind of reminded me like Jay Fox had that.
Right. Yeah, he did. But you got to stay ahead to surprise people, and that's what you're, I think, uniquely better than anybody I've ever worked with, as far as just staying ahead and really coming up behind somebody. It's an incredible gift, and I love you for it. It's incredible. It's really
I have a
good.
couple things I want to go through when you were kids growing up in Chicago.
so- this is
just
the
some
time to do
admin? It's just some admin, or
No, yeah, I got to check these
way to
out.
tee him up so he doesn't, so he knows that you're going to ask him something.
Yeah, here comes a question, Vince.
When he, okay, good.
No, wait. So did you know we were born in the same year? We were in Chicago. I'm kidding.
This again?
Yes, we were.
So wait, Buffalo Grove. Did you ever go to Woodfield Mall, Oakbrook Mall, or Yorktown Mall?
I went to the Woodfield Mall, Brookfield Mall, and then I went to Northbrook Court.
Yeah, because I worked at those malls.
And then I used to go to a small one in Vernon Hills, Hawthorne. Hawthorne was a
Vernon.
go-to mall.
Oh yeah,
for me.
no, I know.
Vernon
I don't
Hills,
know.
yeah.
That. All right, so I'm trying to find. Okay, so and then wait. First of all,
Great America was a place that took
Yes.
your dollars.
I went all the time.
Yes.
Great America, which is now Six Flags, which is now something
Which
else.
is now
I think.
Six Flags. The Demon?
The Demon. Oh my God, I rode the
Okay,
Demon all
here's
the
a
time.
trivia question for you.
With the gum on the top. When you went through, there was people would stick their gum on the top when you walked.
They
through
were
those
proving they were there, but it was
That's
fast.
right. Yeah, that was fast.
Question for you. What was the name of the roller coaster before they turned it into the Demon?
The Eagle.
No, the Eagle was later. That was the fastest wooden roller coaster. And as you would wait for 2 hours in the Midwest, the thing we would share with each other is say, "This is the biggest wooden roller coaster." in the
Yeah.
world." That was hard.
Wait, what was it? What was before the Demon? It was
I believe it was Turn
yes. I don't remember. What is it?
of the Century.
Turn of the Century. Wow.
Really?
How do you
I
remember?
can't
Did you-
confirm or deny it, but I believe it's tough to ask a trivia question you don't know the answer to. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
I can't ride roller coasters anymore. I'm too old. My equilibrium gets shot,
me
and
too.
I'm immediately nauseous. I
I feel
can't do
ill.
it.
Me too.
I'm the same way.
I went to Disneyland with the kids, and I was like, I did one ride, and I was like, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, what
I did one ride.
Yeah, what happened?
You laugh. You show up super excited. You're going to give the kids a great day.
I'll get all hopped up on sugar, and
You
then
guys are on your own. I'm going to be texting over here on a
I did.
bench.
I was texting on the bench, and then I kept going, and then I kept going. I kept going. Like they come back, and I kept going. You guys want to take off? Let's get out of here, right?
You guys want to do
no.
Small World or you want to go home? Those are your options. Are we bringing the world together? Or are we getting out of here?
Yeah. Oh my God,
happened?
that's so true.
Do you get back to Chicago a lot? I know that you go to Blackhawks games. I've seen you there.
Yes.
But do you spend a lot? Do you still feel really tied to Chicago?
I do. You know, I always say I grew up in Chicago. I was raised in Chicago, but I grew up in California because I moved here at 18 So I always felt a connection. I think everyone from there does. And then I always felt such a connection to California because at 18 I moved here and made it my home. But I do go back in the summer. I always enjoy going there. It's a super fun city.
Yeah, it's the best.
Lots of fun. Obviously, I had to break up there because I was from there and I wanted to be in the city. So yeah, in the summertime I'll go back usually. But with the kids, I'm so busy with kid stuff. Aren't you guys running around like crazy?
Yeah, but it's so hot in the summer there. I remember it was boiling when we did that movie there. Why would you go there in the summer? You got a deal there or
The
something?
winter's
Come
cold.
on.
The winters are different. The winters are tougher appetite.
In 2010, you skydived over Chicago as part of the Air and Water Show. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, why is he doing that?
Yeah, what happened?
And to be in full disclosure, the night before I ran into some of the Blackhawks and I had a couple of drinks that evening.
Come on.
I was up late.
What?
I was.
Vince.
And so I got up with a very few hours of sleep.
No.
And then I was committed. I made a date with skydiving and I didn't break the date.
And you
Wait,
just
you
kinda-
fucking skydove hungover?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
do
was
it.
like, I didn't know what was happening. I was just talking to the Golden Knights. They were very professional. They were military. They were great. And they were telling me all the things. And I was.
Had you done it
I brought my
before?
mom. My mom was with me. No, I have
way.
never.
That was the first time you skydived, and you did it
Yes.
hungover.
Yes, and I enjoyed it. It was an interesting thrill, but it's not something I would sign up for all the time. But it was enjoyable. Are you guys? Have you skydived, the three of
No,
you?
I was about to. I think maybe with the same group, and then I realized a week before, what's the feeling I'm going to have when I hit the ground? It's going to be that I made it, and I don't
Yes.
want to do stuff that I'm excited that I made it. You know, because I have children now.
I think the
Right.
three of you to go skydiving would be a nice time.
Together.
You should go. You three should book a date on the calendar.
And we
circle
should,
it.
right, and we shouldn't do separately. We should just be bound as one.
Take it
That's
easy,
right.
Sean.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. We should just make a train, huh? Come on, guy.
Yeah, I think I would do it. I think I would do it.
Really?
Yeah,
You've
I
got
think so.
4 kids.
I know, but you know
But
what?
you be safe. You're attached to the people. You do an air train.
How does that make it safe?
So
you just
I'll-
both die.
I'll do it. I don't have kids, so it's okay if I die. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
Sean, you
saying?
do it.
You got
Honestly.
that dog. What's that dog's name?
Very
Yeah.
good, Ricky. Yeah,
Scotty.
Yeah,
Oh, Ricky.
Sweet
Yeah.
Rocky. Scotty.
Scotty,
Scotty and Rocky.
What?
Ricky. There you go.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
And now back to the show.
But now, Vince, you know that this is true. I just saw Rudy for the very first time, maybe a year or two ago.
Really?
Never saw it, and I didn't know. It's one of Scotty's favorite
Oh,
movies.
quick review.
Yeah, it was
Hot take?
incredible. It was incredible. And when I saw you, I was like, oh my God! So this is part of the beginning of your whole thing. And then I saw February. I was like, oh, I didn't know John was in. Like, I didn't know anything about it. And how soon after that did you and John decide to hook up and write Swingers? Was it like right after?
Well, he moved out from Chicago after Rudy, and then we became friends on the set, and so we hung out and we moved to Hollywood. And I used to go to all those places were real places. I used to love to go hear the swing music. All the ex-punk rockers formed these swing bands, and then the Dresden was just a great local bar with all ages. I loved the Dresden because you could get like a 75-year-old in there, and it was just like I liked Marty and Elaine were so fun to go
Yes,
watch.
Marty and Lane were great. Yeah.
So I love that. And then John moved to that area, and so we used to just hang out and go out a lot. And then I think I said to him one day, like kind of what Jason was saying just now, which was, why are we auditioning for these scripts and these things that are so out of touch and like what's going on?
Yeah.
because a lot of the scripts were either like tough guy scripts where like everyone knew everything, or they were like, they just weren't fulfilling of the time. And so John, I said, maybe we write something. And John came back and wrote Swingers. And I think in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he got like a screenwriting book and kind of put it in that form. And then we started meeting and talking and going through the script and talk about, all this stuff. But the part that was crazy was that we thought we could get it made. When you look back at it, that's the part that's insane.
Yeah.
We were like under our wing. We're like, okay, well, we're going to make this. So now let's start the journey. We'd meet like a couple times a week, talk on the phone a lot. Okay, who do we think we can get? It was crazy.
Yeah. But that's how you get shit done. You believe in it.
But you guys can, because all three of us were born in the same year. I didn't want to say, because I didn't want to blow your mind.
Now that is a coincidence.
No, I was 69.
Magical year, that 1970.
No, that's in my notes. It's
unbelievable. And I remember I was living in New York. I was a young actor living in New York. And when that movie came out, for us, it was as Gen Xers. I was like, this is a fucking movie that fucking gets it. It's telling the kinds of jokes in the way that I want it to be done. Yes. It was surprising, as JB was saying, with the language that was hilarious and unusual and fucking references that were phenomenal.
Yes, and also made me feel like being an actor in that moment, you were just speaking to me and everybody else in
speaking
this town
to me, and it wasn't
it.
Jokes written in a studio system. That didn't feel like it was rewritten by a bunch of different known comedy teams. This was new. It was different, and it was real. Yeah. They were jokes that you could see these guys were real guys, and it was fucking. It was like you guys were like rookies of the year and MVP in the same year. It was just like bang. You know what I mean? And you must have. What was that feeling like? What was the moment on Swingers? Like, what was what screening was it, or box, or what was the thing where you were like, holy fuck, this is really reaching people?
The thing that was interesting was, as you could imagine, the crew we assembled was not, they were just people looking for a job. I think our sound guy specialized in adult films.
Sure.
And so we're really committed.
I always wondered about that.
Yeah.
Because the sound seemed very erotic. Yeah. The sound was
he brought a, I think the set was a slow day for him every day on the set. But we were taking it serious. And I think there's the scene where I stand up on the table was improvised, where I stand up and I start doing the dance and stuff at the restaurant. And the reason I did that was, partially, I could just feel like the crew, like looking at us, like, what are these guys? Like the whole shoot, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so I kind of made it like, I'm the asshole at the restaurant. Kind of came from like, I was kind of reacting to the crew's feeling of like, this guy's out there and people are looking at you in a restaurant like you're going too far. But it was really kind of that. So we loved it, but it wasn't like, on the set, other than the actors, there was a real feeling that this thing was working. And then we did not get into Sundance. Was the first step. And then, but we still loved the movie. And then it got picked up, obviously, by Miramax and released. And then it really just kind of grew over time. It started to get quoted so much. And, ESPN started, saying, "Your money, baby." And then, Vegas Baby started, still is kind of used. So then it just sort of hit this. And I think part of what I think worked about it is there was a vulnerability to these guys. They weren't winning every situation.
Yes.
They're not, everything's not going their way. They don't have all the tools. And it was really a friendship in that you're helping someone past a breakup. Mm-hmm. And I think the vulnerability and you go out going to meet girls, but a lot of times you'd end up playing EA hockey.
Yeah, totally.
And ordering pink dye. So I think there was a relatability that wasn't taking itself too seriously.
You know what's funny? Is now that you mentioned it, there was a sort of a tragic element to it, right? It's kind of a tragedy in a way. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it made the comedy much more profound. It's like an American with Nail and I in that way, that film of just like at the end, you're like, they don't really win. They don't, like it's kind of
passing time.
The one thing with the last scene of the movie was I was flying home to do the movie, to do Swingers. And I was sitting at the airport waiting, in these rows of seats, and I could see the counter. And there was an older gentleman at the counter who kept smiling and waving at me. And I had not done anything. No one knew who I was. So I was like, why is this guy so confidently like waving at me, like real aggressively? And so I tried everything. I tried to be like I was distracted. I tried to look at him mean. I tried to, roll my eyes at him, but it did not deter him. He was just overly playful and doing shit with me. I was like, what is going on? And then once he got his ticket, he came walking right towards me. I thought, this can't be real. No one can be this fucking tunnel vision. This is crazy. And he walked right in front of me, and he had a baby that he was entertaining in the row in front of me. And I was like, this is fucking crazy.
That's amazing.
I thought this motherfucker was waving and smiling at me, but really he's entertaining a fucking toddler. So I called John and I said, because Trent is such a great character and confident and fun and all of it, but you really focus on the transformation of his character, of growing. And sort of the great thing that John wrote in the movie is when he kind of is himself and doesn't try hard at the bar and says, yeah, I like quiche, real men. He's like, yeah, I guess my reputation. When he's not trying to be something he's not is when the door opens, is when the girl connects to him.
How do you remember?
And so the kind of compliment to that at the end, I thought it was fun if you go, because some of those movies would always wrap up where the character would explain the movie at the end. Here's the monologue where I tell you the theme of the movie. And I'm like, why are they doing that? If the movie did its job, I don't need the character to explain the theme of the movie to me. So kind of as a misdirect, the fun of it was for Favreau to say, you know what, I didn't know, and then all of a sudden it hit me, and you're like, oh God, they're gonna do this in the movie where now the character explains the journey. And then I start thinking the girl is waving at me and smiling at me as a way to sort of pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Like, Trent is, in the way he sees things, a good friend and helpful, but John kind of gets quiet and stares off as if to say he's not searching for some pickup stuff, or how to meet someone. He sort of found an inner truth that's kind of transcended him into this next phase of his life. And so I think there's an optimism because he's got past the breakup and there's the openness for love.
Right.
And we're also kind of moving past, which I think is an important stage, that adolescent stage that we all go through where you are figuring out how do you make a connection, how do you say hi to someone, how do you date. There's a moving past that to being more yourself and finding a partner that likes you because you're comfortable with who you are.
Yeah, for sure. And
Fuck, man, that's
by the way,
great.
I love that. Makes me want. I'm going to watch it again tonight. Makes me want to see it.
Oh, Sean.
No, don't.
No, do. I was about to drop on Vince. I can't tell you how many times I've said to people earnestly, but I go, you, and they were like, fuck, he's about to. I go, you are so money, you don't even know how money you are. I've said it a million times.
Wait, so you married a Canadian just like your mother, but you didn't marry your mother. You married Kyla.
Well, we all do.
Yeah.
Well, we all do in our own ways, don't we?
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, Jason. Fuck, let me
And
Don't think I haven't waking up with fried chicken on my mind, my brother. Huh? We all go through that cycle, don't we?
So go through it every day. But I put my house on the market years and years and years ago and decided not to sell. But I heard that you saw it. You checked it out. Do you remember that?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I might have. Without giving away too much, are you?
Hancock Park.
Hancock Park.
Okay. We gave away a lot, but yes. Yeah. I love that. I lived in Hancock Park. I lived on Rossmore when I was real.
Oh, really? Yeah, I live not too far from there.
I love that
Yeah,
area.
that's pretty
What's
cool.
the address, Sean?
Wait, I want to know this too.
What's the street start with, Sean? Sorry.
Doesn't
matter.
I used to drive, and it's so stupid. So you're afraid of the ocean, and I am too. Why are you afraid of the ocean?
Well, I'm not. I got more comfortable because I live in a beach town, but I'm not a surfer. I didn't grow up skateboarding. I don't have balance in that way.
Yeah.
I respect the ocean. It's a powerful entity. I like to go in and cool off.
For you, man.
I like to go in and cool off on occasion. My kids like to go. It's like the amusement park. That's the thing with waiting to have kids until you're older. I'm conscious, like you don't want to be an old father. So you force yourself to do the stuff that one would have done when they were younger. But sometimes I'm not filled with joy while I'm participating.
Listen, Vince, I had another kid. I had my youngest son. I had him when I was 50. But the good thing is I wear Vans. So people, they don't know how old I am because they're like, this guy's wearing Vans. He can't be over
30.
50.
Yeah.
He must be at least, But I also like the way that you said you respect the ocean, as if it's this thing that you're saying it because if you don't say that, it's going to come get you. So you lay your respects
what about
on
it? But Vince, what about it? What about it scares you? Because what scares about me is like, I guess all the movies I've seen. Did you see Open Water? Do you remember that movie, Open Water?
Jaw still was a tattoo
Billy
on
Zane?
my brain.
Billy Zane, Open Water? No.
I don't know if Billy. I don't remember
There's the
who's in
couple
it,
that
but
goes,
they go
scuba diving, they get
scuba
left.
diving and they come up and the whole team is left in the middle of the
Yeah.
ocean. Don't you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Sure.
can't do any of it.
I didn't see that.
But-
I have that now. I have a new one to watch.
Oh yeah, it's so scary.
So what are you doing over there at Manhattan Beach? You like in a volleyball league or anything like that?
You know, my daughter plays volleyball. Her team just she plays for a volleyball club, Mizuno, at 13, and they took third in the Junior Olympics.
Is that right?
No
Crazy.
shit.
Yeah, good for her.
That's
That was
amazing.
great.
So she got your height and your leaps?
She's a good athlete. Yeah, she's tall on the tall side. She enjoys that. But yeah, we're just here. You know, obviously the kids and stuff. They get a lot of freedom to walk around and
Yeah.
you know, kind of participate and do stuff. I like the freedom for the kids. I think it's so nice if they can kind of navigate their own friend day.
Right.
Like the way we did. If the parents aren't so involved, it's easier for us, and I think they get to grow quicker what they like and what they don't like because they're making those choices, and this gives a little more freedom to bike around and be able to do that.
But you know what? That's so important, Vince. I've been thinking about this a lot. All bits aside, we talk about this a lot with like the phones and stuff, right? With the kids. I have a 13-year-old son and a 15-year-old son, and the phones are crazy. And I said to them, we've talked a lot about it here. Jason, Sean, and I have. And I said to my kids, look, I'll give you more. There'll be if you spend less time on your phone, I'll give you more personal freedom to do shit and go out and hang out with your friends. And I'll back, because I think us as parents, we got so into this thing of like, we got so worried about our kids going and doing shit, and yet we'll give them a phone and let them go to the far reaches of the internet. And it should be the reverse, right?
I agree. I so agree with you. If you look at us, all of us born in 1970, and even in our conversation with two of us, you know, some of us not going to college, we were given a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah.
And we made mistakes, but there was a lot of figuring out just problem solving.
Yes.
And so I think if you're too restrictive with the kids, you know, if you do it Little House style, like you and Peter B., then they have a harder time. Like, when do they actualize? Is it at like 17? All of a sudden you say,
Yeah.
okay, now you're going out there. So I think having conversations, hopefully they feel comfortable talking to you about stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, you're right. Like if you go to a mall, you know, or you're on the phone, you have a chance to come across stuff that the parents aren't involved in. And it's better for them to figure out that navigating to some degree with guardrails, obviously.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You don't want your kids moving a ton of weight up through South Florida. You know what I mean? I mean, this is even if he promises that we're all going to wet our beaks on it, I'm like, listen, you're not doing it. You know what I mean?
Listen, Vince Vaughn, before we let you go, I want to talk about Bad Monkey. But first of all, we didn't even get to like Jurassic Park, Psycho, Maid, Old School, Dodgeball, Wedding
Fucking
Crashers,
Wedding
Breakout,
Crashers.
True Detective, Curb.
Oh, Dodgeball, that's another one.
Curb.
Yeah.
That you are so funny in that, Bait.
I just read that. There was just an anniversary of that. There was some long article in The Ringer that Rawson sent me. It's just awesome to revisit.
Yeah. Fucking. When you read that
You
out,
stole that fucking. You were so fucking funny in that movie.
Yeah,
as
that
the
was
commentator. So
But
funny.
tell us about Bad Monkey, Vince, before we let you go. It's with Bill Lawrence, and for Tracy, Bill Lawrence created Scrubs. He created
Ted Lasso.
Spin City.
Ted Lasso.
Oh, he's great. I used to play in a poker game with him when I was like 19, and he was super funny, and he was a comic at the time. So I knew him. He was a friend. And then
Is Bad Monkey a comedy or is it drama?
well, it's kind of both. It's a Carl Hiaasen book about a detective in Florida. And so the personalities are fun and comedic, but the stakes are real and the kind of crime you take seriously. And so it was just great to get a chance to work with someone who's such a good writer, who, as an actor, you can go and play around, be funny, wants your ideas.
Yeah.
And, but he knows how to put it together, and you're not going to, have to go through that process. So that Bill's, I think for all of us, when you work on a set and you've done it as long as we have, and this is another thing, as we get older, when we were younger, the crews were so dialed in.
Yeah.
You had to be an apprentice to be a prop person for years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now they're making so much more stuff. So when you get to go on a set and it's really well run, and the guy in charge really is fun, and it makes it for a good day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
amen.
I can't wait to see
The
it.
Bad Monkey is on what?
That's on Apple.
On Apple.
On Apple.
Gotcha.
That's great. And it's August 14th.
Yeah.
can you imagine saying 25 years ago, yeah, well, it's on Apple? What?
I know. Yeah, I know,
What are you
right?
talking about, man?
you talking about?
I know.
Your show's on Apple? Get the fuck out of here. We don't serve drunks. Put some fucking shoes on. You know what I mean?
Vince, we've taken up a lot of your Saturday, so we appreciate it. Absolutely love you so much.
Such a fan of the show and all of you
fan.
guys. It was a blast to get the chance to come on and talk to you guys. So great to see you all.
be with you
Vince,
again,
you're
Vince.
an all-time
Miss you, pal.
champ, man. Honestly, you're an all-time fucking champ. You're the funniest fucking dude. Oh.
And thanks for being on our maiden voyage on Sirius.
Yes.
It's a big deal to us, so thank you.
Yeah.
This looks like blue skies and clear waters ahead. So thank you for having me as a passenger.
Oh, he referenced the ocean again.
Say hi to the family, Vince, please.
I will.
Thanks,
Please me
Vince.
as well, Jace. Great to see
All
you
right.
guys.
See you.
Bye, buddy.
Bye,
Thank
buddy.
you.
buddy.
Bye. The great Vince Vaughn, double V's.
No kidding.
Double V's makes a W.
He's such a sweet man.
So sweet, so easy. Just his comedy is so like seemingly easy. What I mean, you know what I mean? Like there's just like it's so fluid.
But if you got you guys haven't worked with them before, have you?
No, I wish.
Okay, when you work with that guy, like when they bring in the slate, they say, okay, rolling, they come in, they hit the slate, ready, and action. And you look at this guy and you know, like it's a Tommy gun coming at you.
Yeah.
You know, you usually take sort of comfort and peace in knowing that, okay, we're all dealing with, a mutually agreed upon plan here with the script. You know, like I know what the next line's going to be. I know what the next action's going to be. With him, it's always up in the air in the greatest way, and you just got to keep your knees bent the whole time. And you want to enjoy it as an audience member, so you're kind of like half laughing the whole time, but then you can't because you got to stay in character. It's exhausting in
Did he
the
break you?
best way.
Did he break?
Constantly. Like Tambor level, Jeffrey Tambor level, where you just can't look him square in the eye.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I
you're
love
going to
it.
laugh.
Right.
You know, you got to
love
kind of
that.
stare at a cheek or a nostril or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
But I did
No one
ask
better.
him about that question I asked him about, like, you know, because I've been asked to do like improv.
About the malls?
Yeah.
yeah, call him
Was
back.
that the one? About
Yeah.
what mall he liked?
Which malls he likes to go to?
because I worked in
What
those
the-
malls.
What's the matter with you?
I worked
Yeah,
there.
This guy
So
is
But I asked about that improv thing because, you know, you have to flip, you have to switch on, like when you're asked to improvise, and it's like sometimes when you're not in the mood, how do you do it? Like, how do you get there? It's just the older I get, I'm like, I can't do it. I need
Yeah,
somebody.
but don't you find like I find like with this, like when when one of us is tired, or when I'll speak for myself, when I'm tired, I just like, well, I just embrace it. I just use it. Well,
Yes.
now I'm just going to
Yes,
be
I know.
even,
Yes, I-
even shittier than I usually am. You know, just like and you just become drier, and that becomes your humor for
yes,
the day. you know?
that's very good. I do that too. I do that too.
I think
Jason.
that happens a lot. Yeah, I think that we've gotten older. As we've gotten older, certainly that's kind of the thing.
But
You
it's
look
easy
great.
to do it here.
Will,
though.
you
No.
look great.
No, but just about you just show up with what you got today.
Yeah, yeah, for
and,
sure, for
and
sure.
it is
Deal
what
with
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not defined. It is deal with it, but it's not like, hey, fuck you. It's just like, hey, man, this is where I'm at right now. And,
I don't
you know,
have. I can't give what I don't have today.
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know what, Jay? And I was worried because I know that you've been really tired. You've been burning it. You've been working your tail off. And then you know
Here it
what?
comes. Here it comes.
You were fucking so perfectly like fine.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get a buy out of you, but
no,
that
like
was
I
good
knew
too.
you. No, I'm just kidding. I knew you were tired, but you know, like it's just one of those things, and like you find a way, and then you see Vince. Watching your face light up when you saw Vince.
Yeah, I know. I knew
was so fun.
I was almost going to text you, Jay, that it was Vince, and I was like,
It was
let him
so
be surprised.
fun.
fuck.
I forgot how many times you guys have worked together. It's wild.
By the way, that reminds me of one of the funniest things Vince ever did. We were doing the junket for couples retreat, and he and I were paired together. And the only way we got through the junket was this game that he played, where each time the journalist would come in, we'd take turns giving each other a word that you had to work into
Yeah, that's
your
funny.
answer.
Oh.
That's
And so,
hysterical.
like, Constantinople would be like, or Velcro or something. And she would just fucking kill me because he's just so straight, so dry.
Yeah,
That's
funny. And then when you did you guys just crack up?
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the poor journalist thinks that, we're having, a laugh at his
At
or
their
her
expense.
expense, and
Yeah.
they don't know what it is. And it's just, Dumb actor crap.
Anyway, I'm so glad he came on. It was a long time coming. I was excited for you guys to
nice guest,
to experience that.
Really good. It is surprising that we haven't had him on earlier because he is such a fucking heavyweight.
I'm fucking serious. I want a daily dose of him. Wouldn't he be an incredible talk show host?
Amazing.
Amazing.
He's made for it.
He is.
Yeah. Do you guys get acid reflux ever?
Oh, here it comes.
Oh my
Get
God!
ready.
You know what it
Strap
is?
in, Will.
I
Here it
can't.
comes.
It's a twinkle in his eye or something.
No, I'm just asking if you ever get acid reflux.
Yeah, sure.
No,
Sometimes.
you know what, Sean?
Why?
Sean, no, we don't. Let's just move on to another subject.
No, I'm gonna yes and him because I just can't wait for this turd.
I'm just gonna say, sometimes I get acid reflux, so
Is that right?
So sometimes I drink water.
Okay.
You know, to balance the acid-base pH, kind of thing.
Sure.
And one of those things I drink is bicarbonate. And I was
just
wondering
went
if you
right by
guys,
it again.
I was wondering if you guys have ever had
No,
bicarbonate.
you can't say it and then double back and frame it up and hit
It's
your
good.
octave.
Bicarbonate.
Hey,
like that.
can I ask you something?
Should
Did you quit showbiz and we don't know about it? And you've forgotten the rules?
You know what? I would just like to say a nice normal on our very first episode on Sirius to our incredible listening audience. Thank you for being with us.
Yes,
thank you for staying with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
And have
You
a
guys are the
great
best.
day and a very pleasant and sincere.
Thank you for
here.
stopping.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
SmartLess.
SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Rob Armjarv, Bennett Barbaco, and Michael Granteri.
SmartLess.